up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. We are back in the kitchen again today. Typically I'd be normally doing a informative video, sit down for you, but I found this amazing white bread recipe that's completely gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, and I thought I cannot wait to share it with you guys. I'm gonna do it for you guys today. This is actually from CHEFSTEPS. They came up with this recipe, or rather I found their recipe on their channel, so I'll put that also down in the link below, but I thought this would be brilliant to share with you guys. For those of us with eczema and TSW who need to be eliminating things like gluten, dairy and eggs in order to overcome their internal inflammation, this could be the basic staple that you can have every day as your main bread replacer, or just your bread. You know, it's fluffy, it's soft, it's white, it ticks all the boxes in order to maintain our elimination diet, to heal our eczema and our topical steroid withdrawal completely naturally from the inside out, starting with our gut. So I have done a bread recipe in the past. I did a sorghum flour recipe, which comes from Karen Fisher's eczema diet book. I was very loyal to this recipe and it really actually helped me through my TSW. I have to say it does involve a lot of ingredients, although very good nutritional, nourishing ingredients to help your skin. But you might find in certain countries around the world quite difficult to get hold of some of these ingredients. So this is a much more simple, basic recipe that you only have 4 ingredients involved. So without further ado, let me show you what I'm talking about. But before we do, actually, let's go ahead and hit that subscribe button, support my channel, give me a big thumbs up. Let me know down below in the comments if you've heard of this recipe before, or if it's completely new. Give me a big heart in the comment section, s'il vous plaît. And without further ado, let's get cooking. So this white bread is Asian inspired actually. I think it might actually be Korean, but apparently this is where the recipe comes from because it's a rice based bread, and all you need to have is 2.5 cups of white rice soaked overnight, or at least for 2 hours, and that rice is going to start absorbing quite a bit of water, which is going to make it a bit softer, and also the starch water will start to absorb a lot of the starch from the water. So it's a lovely rice that you can use, either a basmati rice or a long rice, any white rice of your choice really. I've just soaked mine overnight because I just thought I wanted to make sure that I got this recipe right. But otherwise you can just soak it for a couple of hours. And then the ingredients are a couple of teaspoons of the olive oil, a couple of teaspoons of maple syrup or any other sort of sugar of your choice, but I find that maple syrup is the best sweetener when it comes to eczema diets because it's a more natural sugar. 7 grams of yeast here, and then a pinch of salt. The number one thing is to have a high-speed blender. This is no Ferrari, my one, unfortunately. So when I tried it out, I was kind of apprehensive as to whether or not it was going to work out. But in actual fact, she stood true and did the job. This blender has to be, gosh, at least 15 years old. But it's actually when you have the batter of the bread mix creates quite a lot of heat whilst you're blending it, and it's getting that temperature right before you pour the batter into your bread mold. Now when it comes to your bread mold, I'm going to do a regular loaf size. I think the top chefs did it in very small little bread containers, which was extremely sweet, but I don't have any of those. I do have, however, some bagel donut molds, so we could try some of those as well. And then I've got some very, very, very small molds, which I use for my soaps, which can make kind of like mini breads, but I'm a little bit, worried about putting them in such small molds because of how much the yeast is going to rise and that sort of thing. So, but anyway, we can have a little look, see, they might just be a bit too small in there. So let's kick off with draining out our rice. So I'm actually going to keep the rice water because rice water is super good for your hair. If you're looking to regrow your hair, you can use the rice water when you're washing your hair as almost like a hair mask to help promote growth, because that's what the starch from the rice can do. So we're going to blend our mixture at a really high speed, and this is going to create lots of heat, and this will help activate that yeast. Now the temperature needs to be about 40 degrees Celsius or 105 degrees Fahrenheit. So normally 2 to 3 minutes of high intensity blitzing will do the job. I'm going to add my temperature gauge into the mixture now, and as you can see, we have managed to get 40 degrees. And then we're going to add the mixture into our mold, and we're going to let that sit for 15 minutes so it can start to prove and the yeast can start to activate the bread mixture. I'm giving it a quick tap so that we can release any air bubbles. And there you go, after 15 minutes you can see it's risen 3/4 of the way through, and I'm spritzing it with a bit of water just to keep it hydrated before it goes into the oven. I'm also going to add a basin or tray of water, and this gives it an extra burst of steam to keep it nice and moist. We don't want to dry out our bread. So keep adding regular spritz of water to the top of the bread throughout the baking process. We're going to bake it for 35 minutes at 180 degrees. So I'm going to do a taste test with a little bit of butter, because I love a bit of butter. Well, it's actually margarine because I don't have butter, but
delicious.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's not the same consistency as regular white bread that's gluten, but I'm pretty impressed with how well it tastes. It's a little bit thicker than regular bread, a bit denser, I think is what I want to say, but it comes apart like regular bread, which is what I love about it. And if I can get this in focus here, you can just see how well that comes apart. It's really beautiful. And with a bit of margarine, it's really yummy. I could eat this, no problem, put it in sandwiches, have it as soup and salads on the side. That's a good bread. That is it from me, you guys. I really hope this has inspired you to get into the kitchen, get that sandwich making process back out there. You guys deserve it. You're doing so well on your diet. And if you guys are looking for more inspiring recipes, then don't forget to check out this playlist over here where I have a whole bunch of recipes, including loads of sweet treats, especially with Halloween coming up at the end of the month. So don't forget to go and check those out. And I'll see you guys all over there. And until then, I'll see you next week as well. Bye for now.